Welcome to Center Heist Productions. Please hit the likes and subscribe down below in your right hand corner. It would be muchly appreciated. And this is a review of tonight's game where the Wings came in for the back-to-back, this time in Montreal. And was this deja vu again? Seemed almost like a replay, other than, a couple little different storylines. However, anyway, it was a 5-4 victory, comeback victory again for the Wings in the shootout. Good game, closely played. I'd say the only weak point was for the Habs. The biggest weak point, I should say, for the Habs was Primo. Now, he faced a lot more shots than Reimer, but he, I hate to say, the goals that went in on him were much. They were really on him. They were all goals that should have been. He should have captured. He really should have had them. Yes, he faced a lot of shots, but I have to honestly say all 4 goals were soft in regulation. He looked better in the shootout than he did in regulation. So to me, he was the weakest link tonight. I suppose you're bound to have one, right? So I mean, he has played well this season. So, and I think it is going to be a competition between him and Monty. But anyway, we're going to get to the stats, talk about that stuff later. And yeah, so 5-4 final in a shootout. A goal apiece in the first, 2-1 for Montreal, 2 goals to 1 in the second, 2 goals to 1 for Detroit in the third, which made it an even game. And of course, 1 shootout goal at the end that won it. So, yeah. Patrick Kane got the shootout winner and a 5-4 victory over the Montreal Canadiens in regulation final Tuesday night. But the Wings were eliminated from contention. That was the sad part of it. Is I was rooting for the Wings to get in. However, I had a bad feeling. I had discussed this with someone close to me today. I had a feeling with the experience of the Capitals, too much had to happen. I mean, the Capitals had to lose and the Wings win. It didn't work out that way, and I had the feeling the Capitals still had enough experience, and they were a little hot recently that they were going to slip into that final spot, and they did. So sad for the Wings with all the effort they put out to try to do their very best. Although, had they have not had that 7-8 game collapse, they would have easily been in. So that's something they're going to have to look at for themselves as well. So that's the way that ended. And yeah, unfortunately, the Caps beat Philly 2-1 in regulation, but that was also because Philly had to win in order to even have a chance. So they pulled their goalie and they got scored on, and that broke the tie. So anyway, first star, Brendan Gallagher. Second star, Slafkoski. And Gallagher had a goal and assist, +2. He had a very strong game, very good game on. Gallagher's ended the season quite well. I was quite happy with his performances. He came a long way. Had a much better second half than the first half. Just took him longer. So good to see that on Gallagher. Second star, Slafkoski had a great game as well. And, the first line was rolling fairly well. He had a goal and assist. And the third star, Newhook, a goal. And applaud him too. I'm sorry, but he played well, but I don't think he should have been the third star. That's just my preference. I actually can say I think Matheson had a stronger game than Newhook. I think Armia had a stronger game. So that's just my thoughts on that, and it is what it is, though. So he had a goal for a +2. Anyway, scoring summary. First, his goal was nice by Galley and Mayu. Nice to see. The kids did well. I got to really say, Mayu's debut and for Hudson Lane. They both, did quite well in their debuts last night and today. Nothing spectacular, but they played fairly steady. Give them credit. I think it's been a bonus that they were up against the Wings, who don't really play an overly physical type of game. So that's kind of a plus, and it doesn't really next year. There's going to be seriously physical teams that will give you a better view of how they can handle the physical side of things, because we know Detroit's a high flying team, just a little more advanced than us, and that would be, I would say, more due to experience. So anyway, 11:32, Alex Newhook scores, assisted by Gallagher and Logan Mayun. It was a beautiful pass up to Galley, and Galley made a beautiful feed over to Newhook, and he made no mistake. 18:29, Sider scores one from Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond from the point, and really, there was nobody blocking in front of or screening Primo. He should have had this. I couldn't understand it. So 1-1 going in the second period. Brendan Gallagher gets a nice goal assisted by Yoel Armia, and makes no mistake, assisted by Struble. Beautiful, nice goal too. 6:17 in the second. Then at 10:09, Cole Caulfield gets a nice one with a shot that came from Slafkoski after Nick Suzuki passed it to him, and he kind of didn't get it quite right, his shot, Slav, but it took a bounce, and Caulfield was right there at the net to pick up that rebound and put it in. So nice on him. Good to see Caulfield just rolling. Good to see this line rolling, going into next season on a major positive. And just lots of positives. Then 10:45, Joel Volino scores, assisted by Gostisberg and Sprong. And I think we've seen a couple of odd goals get scored on here. Volino's goal being one, just catching. Once again, it's just a matter of Primo not playing it. And one of those two goals, um, Primo got caught looking left and thought, while he took his look left, it was all on him. And actually, I can say each of them. 3:31 in the third period, Sprong scored unassisted to get the game evened up. Then Uri Slafkoski got a beautiful goal assisted by Savard. Nice deflection in. And unfortunately, in 19:55, with seconds left, and in net empty, David Perron scores the big one, assisted by Gostisberg. There's another guy. I mean, really, when you looked at him, even he could have easily taken that third star position from Newhook. Because, I mean, really, he played a fabulous 2 games. So anyway, and that was the dying seconds. I mean, you're looking at 5 seconds left, and we couldn't hold on. So the challenge being, could Montreal hold the lead? And they just couldn't do it. But good on that, because it kept us, I think that keeps us in 5th in the draft order, which is what I wanted to see. I still don't like that point we gained, but I believe due to the Sens victory, I'm not sure how the Coyotes are doing. I think we're still in 5th, but we'll end up 5th or 6th, depending on the Coyotes. Anywho, shootout, Caulfield got stopped. Larkin got stopped. Raymond got stopped. Suzuki got stopped, and Kane scored. So then the final shots, 40-33. So I mean, you got to realize only a 7-shot difference. So Reimer played fairly. Yeah, he was all right. I don't think the goaltenders stood on their head tonight. Overall, I mean, Reimer made some very big saves at moments, though. There was a couple he kept out of there that easily could have been Montreal's game. He did make some timely saves, The experience showed. I think that was the difference. So he did make some. He wasn't outrageously spectacular, but he came up at the right times. Hits 19-13 in favor of Detroit. They won it this game, 23-28 in faceoffs. Uh, Detroit didn't get a power play tonight, and that was amazing. And Montreal had 3-0 for 3. And I was kind of surprised they didn't try Lane Hudson on the first unit just to give him a shot. I was a little disappointed in that. Penalty minutes, what Red Wings had the penalty minutes tonight, 6. Giveaways, 15 for the Wings, 18 for the Habs. And takeaways, 11-5 for Montreal. Block shots, 15-11. Pretty close in that department. So penalties, no penalties in the first, but Christian Fischer gets one at 16-18 in the second period, 2 minutes for slashing. Lucas Raymond gets one at 18:07 for delay of game, shooting the puck over the boards. And no penalties in the third, no penalties. Well, actually, there was a penalty in overtime, 152. Patrick Kane, 2 minutes for tripping, and Montreal couldn't. That was the time for them to capitalize on this. So, shame that they didn't, because they had a little bit time left, I think, from the third period one. So they had a two-man power advantage, and they couldn't capitalize. So, very good. Even though we didn't win, I'm glad we didn't. It helps us for the tank. Um, Very big positives tonight. Like, I think if we look at the season, Slafkoski had a fabulous game, and just the positive. Caulfield had a great game. And, like I say, we can all look at Caulfield and say um, that he didn't score the goals you thought this year. I think Caulfield had a fine season. Maybe he didn't score the goals that everybody wanted out of him. I was very pleased with his the gain of his defensive game. I think he's become a more complete player. I think a few of us see that, and I think it makes a difference. And I think you'll see him increase the scoring now that he's got that solid year after the surgery. He was starting to get rolling there at the end, and I think you'll see a little more. Now you might see his shot get better, a little more power, because he probably was protecting his shoulder a bit. But I think there's great positives. What that first line is going to do next season is it's going to be quite fun to watch, because I mean, really, wow, that's quite a they're a formidable first line now, and that's I never thought that was going to be the case. Like I got to say, there's a lot of proving wrong here, all the way around when you looked at that. I mean, for me, I'm so impressed with Nick Suzuki. My question mark for him for a long time was the circle work. He was not the best at before this season, and his defensive game still had a little bit to be desired at moments. Caulfield's was, but like I said, Nick totally um, improved in those areas immensely, and that's made him a number one center in my books, which I was shocked about. So he's really worked at it, and he's probably the closest on that line to being at his ceiling. However, as this line starts feeding off each other, they're still going to produce some very good numbers, and probably more. And if they can get a second line built, that's going to be the key right there. Um, like I said, line two had a good game. Armia, um, Newhook, and Galley. They had a strong game. They played half decently together. It's going to be good to see Wap entered back into next year, because he's in my books he's earned at least a third line position for now, and I think he'll leave himself as time goes, possibly maybe getting to the second line, but I think if they improve enough, he'll be a perfect third line winger. I just like Wah a lot. Anyway, but Pizzetta ended up getting injured early in the game, so they were without a forward for most of the game. I'm not quite. They said it was an upper body injury, but not quite sure what it was. But there's a lot of positives here. Um, Pearson had a strong game, played very well. Josh Anderson, I hate to say this, just not with it. Not. I mean, I don't get it. I I don't get this guy at all. And he's like, and like I say, he seems like the nicest guy and good teammate, but he's just not hitting it at all. And I mean, I think there's got to become a point where um, there's got to be accountability. And he's even rejected the psychological assistance. I'm sorry, the guy needs it. He's got to at least come back with something much more substantial next season uh, at the beginning. He's got to come back a very improved player because this can't carry on. I mean, he's not even worth keeping in that lineup. I mean, for me, if I was coaching that team, he probably would have been sat more this year than he played. So I didn't. I just found there was no accountability on him. But overall, the team still overall played half decently. A couple little let-ups here and there. Unfortunately, it's so bad. As great as Suzuki played, it's such a shame that that tying goal really was kind of on him, where he had the puck on his stick and could have got it out of their end, and he failed to get it out, and we paid for it, and they scored and tied it up with seconds left. So, but I mean, hey, again, you got to sit there and look at it. Guy had a great, phenomenal game, and it shouldn't always be. He's going to have the odd mistake as well, like anyone else. It's just when it becomes, or like Josh Anderson doesn't put in the work. There's a difference. Nick having a cough up, everybody's going to have a cough up. And like I said tonight, for me, you know, Primo's game was not on board tonight. It was like he was distracted. He was okay, but those 4 goals he should have had. There's and even though there was like Suzuki not getting it out, he still should have had it. And um, just not a strong game, not a great game by him. Showed some of the old signs. The one thing he's doing better is his lower game has come a long ways, and that's good to see. He's got to get that upper game though. But there was no excuses for. I thought the team played half decently, played very well in front of them. So to me, this one's on Primo overall. Um, this one he's got to accept most of the responsibility for this one because those young defensemen, I was very pleased with what Mayu and Hudson brought, and that Hudson, I like the trickiness to his game, and poor little guy. The only thing I'll be concerned about, and again, it's the continual thing, is how will he fare in physical games? That's my only concern. But his moves, he's definitely shown from the small glance, he's got the capabilities to play in the NHL. There's no doubt about it. Um, Same thing as Mayu. He played a really solid game tonight. Very impressive. Was very defensively responsible. I was quite impressed. He looked like he fits. So Montreal's got some serious. They have some serious decisions to make because they got some complicated scenarios. If It's going to be interesting to see who uh, who wins the battles with. I mean, I think you got to be careful because all of these defensemen, all of them, it's like like Craig Button has made the point. Until these guys get 300 games under their belt, you really haven't seen where they can get. So you're going to have to take it very slowly on how you unload these guys. You're going to have to be, and I wouldn't want to be in Kent Hughes' uh, position to make those decisions. That's very difficult. They got a lot. Those young players, yeah, they have some areas to strengthen, but boy, very talented. So overall, a lot of positives for the Habs this year. They played like a team. The amount of one uh, goal games they were in this year is just amazing. So they were in the fight. You had no easy wins against the Habs. So they can hold their head up and count that as a success. Their points were up from last year, you know, so that's a move up. Um, I still don't foresee them uh, quite at the playoff door, or even at the wild card. I still think they're going to miss the playoffs next year. I think they will move up a bit. I can see them being around 22nd spot in that area, that vicinity. But I do not see them making the playoffs. Now they might. They're going to. I think they're going to show improvement. They're headed in the right trajectory in the right direction. But there's still a lot to be done, and this offseason is really going to have volumes to speak. I think they got to make the right decisions. I'm expecting a blockbuster trade myself. Um, Personally, I don't know why they don't even think about. If it was up to me, I would easily give up the 2 first-round picks to get that. Try to get as high in the draft as you can, um, at least because for me, I think if you can't get Celebrini, he's probably going to go to whoever ends up at the very bottom, which looks like the Sharks. He's probably going there for sure. But after that, I would like to have the better crack at getting Lidstrom, and I think Lidstrom is the answer in the draft for Montreal. I think he brings us a size. He's got the great uh, offensive side of him, great touches, great looks, and I think he would kind of bring what Josh Anderson was always supposed to bring. Supposed to bring. He's got a good work ethic, and I think more talented. But I think that's the type of guy we need. That's what we need. I think we wanted when we picked up Josh Anderson, but really, I think that we didn't get that. So, but that would improve it. We got to start thinking about size, and it's more important to get that size because we got too many small guys, and I think we got to limit it when all is said and done to at least having it cut down to three only small guys, the most in the front line. That is, I'm not talking about defense. I don't know. You might get away with one or two, but you better have a seventh defenseman for sure that you're holding on to, so you've rotated a bit. But I think out of the forwards, you cannot have more than three small guys, and I think that's the problem in our system. That's why I'm glad Luke Tuck signed. I was so glad the other day, and hopefully they get Kapanen signed because I think those two guys got some size to them. And I'm sorry, but really, when you look at it, with those two coming, and if Heineman ever wakes up, which I'm shocked because he's got the capability, he's just got to grab onto his opportunities, which he hasn't. I hope he finds himself because I think if he doesn't find himself by training camp, he's going to find himself missing his opportunity of being a Hab anyway. That's for sure. Um, and then I think, like I said, those two guys, that might be the difference because they got size. Other than that, there's nobody in Laval on the forward group that is good enough to make the team. The only guy that was Waugh and Heineman. And Heineman hasn't found himself. Like I said, he could be on his way out if he doesn't fix things by training camp. So to get Luke Tuck in there and Kapanen, maybe that gives us a chance to two guys that are an all right size that can fill the lower six for the Habs. Um, and then you got Beck and Machar, which will probably be in Laval, I'd say. And I'd say, really, for me, if you go Cole Caulfield as being small, and you got Newhook that they're not going to give up on, um, I would say, because we see the talent, the way Machar sees the ice, that would be your third small guy. And I think, that way it gives Galley time to get to the end of his contract. But the rest of the small guys, you got to start working them out because we have too many. We got to get some size in there. And if they can make a big splash, I'd like to see them trade upward to guarantee themselves Lidstrom. And, we'll talk more about it. I'm going to make some tapes and I'm going to come up with an evaluation of how I seen the players evaluated this year, how they performed. And then we'll talk more about what the Habs need to do. But so I don't think we have enough depth up front in our system. I think there's too many Smurfs, and we'll be lucky if we can throw them into packages where they can scatter out into different teams. But I think a lot of them are HLers anyway, at best. Might be a couple guys that can go fit into a team as long as they're insulated. But with that being said, a good positive night. Very pleased with Mayu and Hudson. So, and the defense tonight, the defensive group. Other than I think Savard had one error, major bigger error than anybody else, and bound to happen. But other than that, overall the whole defensive core played very well. They weren't the reason this team lost because the team played well in front of Primo. This was the one night Primo. Yeah, it would have been nice if he would have done what he was doing before, because he picked the wrong night to let in soft goals, because he could have easily won this game, I think, which I'm glad we didn't, but he could have. This was his softest game in a bit. Thank you for joining me. Please tell your friends and family, hit the likes and subscribe. Where'd you see it first? Here at Center Heights Productions, and we will catch you very shortly. Give me a few days. We'll see. Keep our eye on the news now that the season's over. I'm so glad it's over. It gives us a little breather, because I'm more gung ho on seeing the draft now and what we're going to do in the off season, because we have to make some serious moves, and we better be careful, because stay clear of the small players. We got too many now. We need to make sure we size up and get talent. We need top six players to improve this team. And even though I like Newhook, he's not a top six player. He'll fill in the year coming. He's not a top six player. He's at best a third line winger, and I think he is a third line winger. He'd play that. I don't think he's a center whatsoever. So that's something, though. I think Jake Evans is more of a third line center than Newhook is. I think he's better on the wing. So we'll see what happens in that area, but I think we need to focus on size and upping the talent on that second line, and even upgrade your third and fourth line. Why not? There's going to be some bodies that leave this year. So thank you for joining me. And like I said, it was a good game, exciting, nice way to finish the schedule, and they finished the year on a positive. So there's a lot of pluses here, and let's just hope everybody comes back and stays healthy, and we get Doc back. I'll be looking forward to that. But this off season to me is going to be huge. We'll talk more. I'll be coming up with a couple of extra episodes on the grades, the players. So thank you. What a wonderful season, and thank you for following this season. We'll talk more about different aspects, how they did. So catch after this. We will catch you in the next episode. I will just keep your eyes posted. Should be a couple days, at least 2 or 3 days, something like that. I'm no hurry, but there'll be something within the next week anyway. So thank you for joining me, and God bless you. We will catch you in the next episode. Go Habs, go. Positive future here.